Good evening. We like to do these very, very informally. How we do it is simply if you put your hand up, obviously there's going to be a lot of them, so give them time to get round. Put your questions, please, either individually or if you want the whole group to answer one, we will do that. No real need to introduce, but just so you know who's here. Mark, obviously, what do you say, Mark? Representing the foreign band, shall we say? The foreign players. Don't know if you know, but Ian is very much involved in the PFA, so I'm sure he'll be able to answer any questions on that side. Obviously, Frank has come through the youth system, so he'll give another view on that. John Green is a physiotherapist, so any questions you have on that side, I'm sure he'll be able to help. And Harry, I'm sure you can persuade Harry not only to answer questions, but he's got some fabulous stories about the game, and I'm sure he can throw a few of those in. So if you want to start around, Paul, and throw your questions.
Right, who wants to put their hand up and ask the first question? Well, there's a brave man.
Harry and Peter, I read in the teletext before I come out here, West Ham are buying another striker, a Norwegian. I've got his name here, hang on. Stiggy Rushfield.
Tell me it, because I don't know it.
We don't know either. Yeah.
And there's someone else here said he's seen in the newspaper. Stiggy Rushfield, Norwegian striker,
No.
1 million? No?
No, there's no real truth in it. It was... their season's finished over there. They're out of season in Norway, and it'd been recommended. Frank Burrows had seen him play and just felt maybe we could get him over and have a look at him in training for a week or so, but it's very doubtful if anything would come of it, to be honest with you. He's just going to come and train. We have loads of lads coming in training at different times, and we're just going to look at him, you know, but I say it, you know, to be perfectly honest. If he was good enough, if he came and set us alight, obviously we'd be interested, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see.
Right, OK, let's take the next question.
I read a few weeks ago, Harry, you said we've always been short of 2 or 3 players away from your best team. If it was the start of the season again and everyone was 100% fit, could you tell us what that starting 11 would be?
It's very difficult, very difficult. Richard Hall would certainly be in my team. I bought Richard Hall from Southampton, and that's been the biggest disappointment because I think he's an outstanding young player. I first come across him in Toulon when he played with the England under-21 team. He captained them 2 years ago when they won the championship out there. So that's been a major blow, and he would certainly be in my team.
H, do you want to go out before you go any further on it?
Yeah, it's a very difficult question, lads, you know. But, no, your team changes from week to week, is all I meant, is I like to have my strongest squad to pick the team from, you know, and that includes... At the start of the year, I never had Bishop, I never had Moncur. I'd had so many people injured for the first game at Arsenal. It was very difficult. Is all I was saying. Let me get them all fit. Let's get Danny Williamson back in contention to play in the middle of the park. Let's get Richard Hall back. You know, I'm back really to where we want to be nearly. You know, Florin Radachai has hardly played a game at the moment. He's had a calf strain as well since he arrived. So, but when everybody's, you know, I'm just looking to have everybody fit, so it gives us a chance to pick out what I consider my best team. But it wouldn't be fair for me to sit here and say that is my best team. It changes. You know, I could say it's my best team this Saturday and go and get beat at Tottenham, and you go and change it the week after. No, that ain't going to happen. I said, you know, I'm saying that's what can happen in football. You think this is your best side, you lose a game, your team changes as you go on, you know. But it's all I would like is to have Richard Hall fit and have Danny Williamson back fit and and Florian fit and have a you know, good, my strongest squad to choose from.
What's the latest on Hugo? Is he going to be signed soon?
Yeah, we've already had agreement with the club. That's been done for a while. We put an offer to Hugo. He's now considering it. I mean, I think you have to bear in mind he's only been here 3 or 4 weeks. He's got to first decide that he wants to stay in England, let alone West Ham. Mark will tell you when you move club to club, it's very difficult. If you move club to club and country to country, it's even more of adaptation. But he seems very keen to stay. We want to keep him. We've made him a very, very good offer, and I'm very optimistic. You know, he'll come back to us early next week and do the business.
Can you tell me, has Julian Dick signed a contract yet?
No, I read that in the Daily Mirror that he was going to come in to see me, so he hasn't done so. his agent, funny enough, did ring today just to say that at some stage he would like to have a chat, but we always said it would probably be around about Christmas time. So, but nothing more has gone on that at this stage. But,
Okay.
but it goes without saying, we'd obviously want to keep him, and I think he wants to stay.
Do you think that with the way things went with Bilach, that other players are now going to hold out for a better contract, as it were?
I suppose you better ask the three lads to my right, really. Well, yeah, but I think that happens in all clubs. You know, every individual player has got a value, obviously depending on whether they're at international, you know, level, or what else they do. That's going to happen, but everything finds its level. We're fortunate that a lot of our players are signed up for a reasonable period of time now. So we've got some consistency now for the next few years, but that will happen. Perhaps the boys might want to answer it. Ian?
I think, to be fair to Slav, I mean, there was never any question his commitment to the team. You know, he was always wanting to stay, and even whatever the deal he's on, I think Slaven's a world-class defender, and I think if he was bought now by Man United or a Newcastle, one of the big clubs, he'd be on, you know, mega buck salary. So it's obviously good business to get him tied up for whatever he seemed to want, and obviously they agreed it. And it's quite right that he do that. He's a world-class defender, and in the way the modern game's going, they've now got him tied to a ruling. And the other thing is with Slaven, he's a foreigner, obviously, and can, you know, with the Bosman ruling, I'm not sure Croatia are part of the union, but probably by the time he comes around, they might well be. They might lose him on a free. So you've got to be very careful. I mean, there's all sorts of things with this free transfer, you know, that makes it a lot different. And I think we need to reward the foreigners who come over to make sure they don't go, and keep him at West Ham. And he's certainly been a revelation since he come in, along with Mark in the centre of defence, and if we can tie up Hugo on the same thing, it'll be all the better for West Ham, and that can only be better for competition for places, and also for the betterment of you watching as spectators.
Okay, next question. Bernard.
So far, our strike rate in front of goal from strikers is 1 goal in the league. Do you think this can be improved?
I'm not sure, really. Yeah, no. Obviously, we haven't scored. We haven't scored the amount of goals that we were looking for. You know, it's been difficult. Ian's worked his socks off without getting a lot of reward this year, but he came and banged in 2 against Notts Forest in the cup. You know, but we lost Tony Cozzi as well, who's a goal scorer. Goal scorers tend to go through spells where, you know, suddenly the goals don't come, and then you're looking for goals from all different positions. I'm looking for different people to score. Hugo's come in and played up front with Ian the last couple of games, and he's banged in 2 goals in a week. I'm looking for midfield people to score more goals. You know, we'd all like some, but we'd all, you know, let's be fair, we'd all like someone to play. If I had Robbie Fowler to play with Ian or something, or, you know, a prolific goal scorer like that, but unfortunately we haven't got anybody I could look at, in all honesty, and say, yeah, he's a 20-goal-a-year man, which we'd all love, and they're very difficult to find. I bought Florian Radachar in because I felt maybe he might get us 20 goals a year, but at the moment he hasn't played because he's had a calf strain, and it's took him time to settle down to playing in England. But obviously, you know, we talk about it regularly. You know, the lads know that we need more goals from front people, and maybe at times Ian's too unselfish. I mean, he works his socks off. He wants to chase out the fullbacks and close people down. Maybe he should be a bit more unselfish and just look to loiter around the 18-yard box more, if you like. I chased Marcus Stewart since I've known him since he was about 12. You know, I followed his career very closely, and it was a difficult one. You know, the fee was. We kept really getting the fee pushed up, and it got pushed up, and every time we went and made an inquiry, in fact, we made a good offer. Well, I think we ended up offering nearly £1.5 million for him at one stage last season, and they still were looking for more money, you know. And it was a gamble. I mean, you know, Marcus Stewart's never played outside the second division, never scored, obviously never had the chance to score outside the second because he's never played there before, but now he's gone to Huddersfield and banged in a few goals in the first, and he's a talented young footballer. But it was a gamble. I took a chance with, you know, with Florian because with Radachai, because his record tells you he's 26 years of age. He's played at the very highest level, and he is genuinely a world-class player. Now, whether he can produce that in England, that was a question mark, you know. But if you talk to people around the world, his reputation is absolutely incredible. I was talking to the Arsenal manager last week who said he thinks he's the best in Europe. I mean, that was his opinion of him, you know. Walter Smith tried to buy him last year at Glasgow Rangers. I was on holiday with him, and he said he watched him 6 times and followed him everywhere. So, you know, he was a lad that we brought in and felt would score the goals that we needed up there with Ian. But you know, only time will tell.
I think that's a fair point. I mean, obviously, to have, as you say, 1 goal from strikers in the league is not good enough, and no one's going to hide behind it. I was personally disappointed with my goal tally this year, up until, you know, recently, but it's still something you need to work on. There is only one way. You've got to keep getting there and keep trying. The one thing that happened throughout the time that I was maybe going for a barren spell, it was I hit the post, and you keep getting opportunities. I think the worst thing as a striker you can do is start hiding. If you start hiding, you'll never get out of the rut, and fortunately enough, if you keep getting it, it will turn round. But certainly that's something that I work on. I know when we were with Tony or myself and Hugo, you spend a lot of time doing. And I think it's a case of whether you score goals or create goals is important. I mean, it was nice for me on Saturday to create a goal for Hugo, who did the reverse for me the week before. So, you know, it's all about a team performance, and winning's vitally important. I think if we went through the season and I was an ever-present and didn't score my ratio of goals, but the team won the league or we won something, you out there would be very happy. And I think it's important if the team wins and successful as a unit, that is the most important thing. Personally, I need to have a higher ratio of return of goals, and that's something I'll be working to.
In the 2 games you've played with Porfirio, you appear to be comfortable together. Does it feel like that, or is it just a couple of odd games that happen to have gone like that?
I think we're very similar in pace and that. We're very similar. And technique and. It's what my mum says. My mum says they're very similar. So. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I felt very comfortable from the word go. What I have found, and I think, you know, I tried to study the game a little bit, and I studied, you know, Hugo in training. And what I think, if you make good runs around the penalty area for him, he will find you with balls. I mean, he has the ability to be a touch unselfish, a touch selfish in the racing area, but round the box he's very unselfish and will slip you in for goal scoring opportunities. So that's something I've tried to work on. And to be fair, he has been a revelation since he come here, and it's felt right. Yeah, it has, because it's a good balance. You know, they say the big man, small man, and it's working quite well. And it's nice that we've, you know, I think that's 4 goals between the 2 of us in the last 2 games. So hopefully that can continue, and you know, hopefully I'll get more than him. And
yeah, right. Well, stop hitting the woodwork. I think that's a good
absolutely.
idea.
Yeah, mostly in my head.
Next question.
Question for Peter. Is it right the capacity is going to go up to 35 to 38,000? And if so, is that going to reflect in the price of the season tickets?
Yeah, good question. We're in process of discussions with Newham at the moment. It's a very complex issue because we need to build the East Stand first, and as you know, that will mean flying over Priory Road, and we'll take the stand literally about 4 metres away, 4 to 5 metres at the overhang from the flats. On the other side, on the west stand, we will need to move the primary school, and we'll need to demolish that and move that further up on the land where the old St John's school was. When it's finished, we'll get to 36,500, and obviously that will then give us a lot more flexibility on price. We can have a wider, you know, price range, get more and more families in. I mean, we've doubled the family enclosure to 1,800. I'd like to make it 3,000 or 4,000. You know, so we've got 6,000 junior hammers. So it'd be nice to, you know, to be able to do something to help that side, and a bigger stand, you know, will be able to do it. Some people say to us, well, surely the west is the old stand, do it first, but it's the capacity numbers. With 26,000, the west stand holds 8,500 people. If we took that down first, you know, hardly anybody's going to get in next season, you know, while we're doing it. So we've got to build the west stand up. We're looking to link in the corners as well, so we'll link them all round as well. So it's 36,500 when completed. Take about 4 years, you know, 3 to 4 years to do the whole thing. But hopefully it will start, at the very latest, it will start May 1998. But I think what Newham was saying to us today is it's liable to be 6 months consultation before they will, you know, put it through. So, a long process.
Next one.
Peter, in those plans, what do you think about the away fans? I do think we give them an advantage where we stick them at the moment. Can't we tuck them in a corner somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know that's an issue on many people's hearts. I don't necessarily think that 2 wrongs make a right, and just because clubs do it, we you know, have got to try and influence other clubs to change their facilities and give a better facility to our fans. I mean, we are without doubt, one of the largest travelling away supporters in the country. You know, we took 4,500 to Notts Forest the other day. You know, when we played them the other night, they brought 660. You know, so we do need to look at it, and I know it's a point. There's going to be two issues. One will be through in the actual rebuilding process. Obviously, when we take the East Stand down, we won't be able to have any visiting supporters during that period, because obviously the capacity will be too low to do that. Once it's built, then obviously once the whole stadium, we're in discussions with the police, because they have a very big influence on where we put the visiting supporters, of where perhaps we can move them to a different location, you know, for the future. So it is very much on the plans, but it will be only once the whole stadium is finished until we can move them. There is I don't know who the hell worked this out, but there's a mathematical equation that only 550 people can come through a turnstile in 1 hour. So when you look at the actual lower tier of the North Stand, there's only so many turnstiles either side because of the sheer space. So we can't actually increase the capacity. I know it sounds crazy, but we can't increase the capacity to come in, you know, all our fans on the other side, the Priory Road side. We have to have those gaps in the middle. There's also the problem of segregation underneath the stand, where, you know, the police, you know, put a barrier line in, and that all comes into the equation. The other night, for example, it took something like 2 days of negotiation when we realised how small Notts Forest, you know, numbers had been sold, and they were going to send us something like 2,000 tickets back. Took 2 days, and eventually we got about another 600 people. That's all they allowed us, you know, but they wouldn't let us have any more than that.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Gary if he thinks like the publicity he's given young Frank there warrants it, because personally I don't think he's quite good enough yet. And I also think that in the last couple of years you've let some good midfielders go for peanuts, like Matt Holland and Scott Canham.
Well, no, they definitely wasn't good enough. He is good enough, and he definitely will be good enough. I let Scott Canham go. He was a good kid and worked very hard. He's gone to Brentford. He can't get in Brentford's team. He's 21 years of age. I let him go because young Frank's 17, 18 and is miles in front of him.
Well, that ain't really true.
That is true. You know, that's my opinion, and that's what I get paid to. I get paid to make judgments on players. He's not. No, if you look very carefully, I don't think he's been in too regular. Well, it's your opinion, you know. Again, it's a game of opinions, and you've got a right to your opinion, but I've also got a right to my opinion. You know, and that my opinion, obviously, I keep the players I want to keep. Young Matt Holland, yeah, I think he may bounce back and may be first division, and he's a decent player. And young Scotty Cannon's a decent player, don't get me wrong. He's a decent young player. We offered him a 2-year contract, and he turned it down. He didn't want to stay here. You know, it was Scotty's, you know, it was his decision to leave the club. I tried my hardest to keep him here. I doubled his wages. I made him give him a 2-year contract. I said, if you get in the team, you'll earn good money, you know. But no, I tell you now, you know, you can sit in front of all these people. I tell you, without any shadow of a doubt, there will be no comparison with what Frank Lampard will achieve in football and what Scotty Canham will achieve in football.
But you'll give him the opportunity.
I don't give him the opportunity. You know, there is no favouritism. In fact, I'm probably holding him back more because I tell you what.
Frank played at Arsenal and he clearly wasn't ready to play.
Well, that's your, yeah. I don't think he did badly at Arsenal. I think he came into the side and I felt...
Hang on, just a moment, one at a time.
I thought the kid came into the side and did well, you know. But I'm telling you now, and I may be now, I didn't want to say this in front of him, but he will go right to the very top. Right to the very top.
Well, there you are. You heard it here first.
Can I...
and I tell you now, there ain't no doubt about that, in my opinion, you know, because he's got everything that's needed to become a top-class midfield player. His attitude is first class, he's got strength, he can play, he can pass it, and he can score goals.
Well, I mean, I do go to reserve games and stuff, so I do know...
Sure, I know you... Yeah, I'm not saying you don't. I ain't saying you don't, and I'm not saying you don't know what you know, it's your opinion, it's fine, but I'm telling you, it's my opinion, I couldn't be more strong how I feel about him.
I think it's not just Harry's opinion. I don't know if many of you knew, but during the European Championships in the summer, England decided to take several young players from all over the country to various training sessions. when Terry Venables came down to the ground to speak to Harry and I not too long ago, he said there was 2 outstanding youngsters of all the ones he had. That was Frank and Rio. He said they were the 2 best players he's had in the whole time in that England setup. You can't say any more than that.
A question for Frank, following on the last question. From that youth team that was tremendous last year, which players does he think is going to go all to the top with himself?
Well, I'd say there's a batch of about 4 or 5 that have got a great chance. But obviously Rio, who's broke through already, and Lee Hodges and Manny, who are on loan at the moment and doing well. So I think it's a case of just of getting experience over a year. I mean, we all had a good year last year, and now we've just got to take that step up. And obviously some will do it quicker than others, but I think, you know, even below us, the year below us, we've got League One and we've got players coming through at schoolboy level. And I think that over the next sort of few years, you'll see sort of 3, 4, maybe 5 players coming through, which is more than we've had for the last, sort of, you know, 5, 10 years.
A couple of quick questions for Harry. Just referring to the fellow who was just speaking, I think it's a bit much to criticise a youngster who's still ambitious and wants to get on, whereas you had, not trying to single people out, but I thought John Moncur's commitment on Saturday was a bit lacking. And also, for Harry, are you still got in your mind to play a 5-man defence?
Yeah, I'm happy playing that way. I think it suits us fine. You know, I think if you look, if you look at so many sides are playing that way all around the world, and I think it's been very successful. Liverpool successful playing that way. You know, I watched them play Man United last week, and they tortured Man United playing the 5 and overloading midfield. And I think it suits us fine.
Does that allow the 2 fullbacks to push forward?
Yeah, you need to push your fullbacks on, obviously, and. I'm not looking to sell Tim Breaker, you see. I mean, Tim is out of contract again. We offered Tim a new 2-year contract in the summer. He turned it down. You know, he's been freed of a contract. He's just about to sign that contract now because, you know, but he wanted the players to keep his option. He wanted 3 years, and we were only prepared to give him 2 because of his age, and we felt with 2 years, let's have a look a year down the line. If he has a good season, we can talk again. But... no, I mean, you've got to push your fullbacks on, and Timmy can do that. I mean, we almost play at a 4 because Stan Lazaridis doesn't play as a left-back pushed on. He plays as a left-winger, you know.
Do you think at times, Harry, we look a bit unbalanced? There's a lot.
Okay, got a question from the back
well,
now.
No, it's not. Chap's not finished yet.
Pardon?
Well, it's not a problem. You know, you need Timmy will push on for you. You know, if he plays in that right-back position, yeah, as I say, Timmy, you know, he's been injured as well, and he's been out. And Mark Bowen came into the side at Notts Forest when we won and done a great job at Notts Forest for us. So it was difficult to change the side. And Timmy's come on last week and at half-time and done well. So it's all about competition for places. But I'm happy with the system. I mean, I bought Richard Hall in to play. You know, I had in my mind at the start of the season. You know, I was looking at Timmy. I was looking at Slaven, Richard Hall, and Mark and Dixie, and I thought, well, that's a very strong 5, you know. I've got real strength there, and I can play a lot of attacking players in front of them, and it would suit us fine. But as I say, it's never worked out because Richard Hall's never been fit. But I'm happy playing that way. It's not, but we can swing round and play with a 4 just as easy if need be, you know.
Okay, yep. Question from the back.
Okay, news from the club is that we're selling. We're a selling club. We've got a big squad, and we're trying to cut the wages bill. Could you tell me who's in the firing line? Have there been any offers? And any other snippets of information you might have?
Yeah, and the rest of it.
That is Martin Samuels from the Sunday People up there, isn't it?